We're all looking at the same thing. I repeat, we're all looking at the same thing. What it do, y'all? It's your boy D Sly. We're coming to you with the next reflection. What are we on? Week 3, week 4? I think it's week 4. At this point, I can hear a beep, beep, beep. The pulse is there. There's still life in the body. But we're still on a life support. We're still on a breathing machine. But at the same time, there's still a pulse. Sometimes I can see the pulse rise a little bit. You can just see the views going up, to be honest. People who are actually listening to the podcast are staying loyal to it, and that's awesome. Some people are jumping on after that. So it's really great. I'm just really thankful for people keeping this thing alive. For me, it's been surprisingly therapeutic to do the podcast. I really didn't know that I was going to get this out of it. I was really trying to do it for you guys, but I didn't understand that there was also going to be something for me in there too. It's kind of like doing the podcast is like watching old highlight films, old highlight reels of other people's highlights. Maybe like you could imagine like basketball highlights or swimming highlights or track highlights, and sitting there with someone, and sometimes you can see yourself in the competition with them, or you can understand because you played that sport too, and that part is surprisingly therapeutic. It kind of reminds you of oftentimes better times. It reminds you of a better self, and yeah, for me it's hard to contain the excitement and the zeal sometimes when I'm interviewing these people for the podcast, because of I get something out of it too. I didn't expect that. Right now we're on the Brad Fraser perspective 3. Brad's life, it's kind of like listening to him doing the interview with him was like opening a portal into a different dimension. If you guys ever seen, what was that, Stranger Things Upside Down world? It's like our worlds were connected just by some kind of, I don't know, thin layer of differing realities, and it's really cool to be able to just get a peek into his world, because it's so much different than mine, even though we walked on the same plane of existence. He's kind of like, in a strange way, mirror version of myself in many different ways. We're very similar, but in other ways we're completely different. So I've really been loving that interview. This last perspective I just dropped about the power of the Father. Jeez, that was just a really powerful perspective for me. I just didn't have that growing up, having an opportunity to have that conversation with my father about different things that were going on in my life, from poetry to basketball. When I was really young, my dad really taught me a lot about basketball. We would sit and watch the Pistons play, and he made me into a big Pistons fan because of that. But he would treat each game like film. Like, look how he's doing that, look how he's doing that, you do that. And I was so young that gave me a huge head start on my competition about court vision and reading the rim like Dennis Rodman, and making no-look passes. Even though we were Pistons fans, my dad always idolized Magic Johnson because of his ability to make passes. So I remember at 3rd grade I was bopping my teammates in the head with no-look passes because they had never experienced anything like that before. And it took actually a lot of years for people to adjust to that. Not until about 5th grade did people really start to catch my passes. It started with Stu, of course. But it's really cool to see that perspective. What would a father say to his son when he says, I want to be an actor? He's like 14 years old. It's kind of an interesting moment. I didn't have a chance to really tell my father I wanted to be this or to be that. I think that would have helped me a lot for many different reasons. And even though Brad's father didn't necessarily like give him some great lecture or some speech or point him in the right direction, it was really about that presence. I think with the motherly presence, you feel like no matter what happens, you'll have your mom. But with that fatherly presence, it's like if you stray too far, you always know that he'll be there to like kind of bop you on the head with his walking stick, his rain stick, and point you in the right direction, take you out of the wilderness, save you from the beast. But when you don't have that fatherly presence, you just kind of feel like alone and kind of like in danger in a way. So it was really cool to see that perspective. But yeah, the mission continues. Don't be scared. You can do the podcast, dude, if you want. You have another perspective coming up. I'm super excited about that. Again, totally different than the last. Completely different than Brad's. Just like Taria's is completely different than Brad's, and Brad's was different than Taria's, and Taria's is different than Mercedes, and on and on and on. I want people to see how diverse our perspectives are, but again, I want to put those all together into a mural so that we can see the bigger picture. But at least through this process, we can be reminded that we had a life that maybe some of us forgot about. It's crazy talking to Brad and the false memories I had of us even being in class together. I even had to edit out some of that interview because it was so bad, my memory of the events versus what really had actually happened. I thought that I was in the same class as Brad, but as an actor, or I don't know, you can't call me actor, but as someone in drama class, I had idolized him so much that I had felt that I was in his class because in 7th grade I was in his class and we acted together, which I don't even have memories of doing Capricious Pearls, that 7th grade show with him. So that was so cool. Kind of troubling a little bit, but it was really cool to see how memory can fail us. I had those emotions, but I didn't have the details. And that's actually been a big theme in my life for a long time, is more holding on more to the emotional, thematic, abstract part experience of the situation, and not really caring much about the details, the statistics and things like that. So it's kind of cool to see someone like Brad who knows a little bit more about the actual details, because like he said, it was a completely different experience for him. He wanted to be an actor, and there he was on stage in a decently sized theater and in front of a decently sized, actually a large crowd for that age. So yeah, that was really an interesting experience again for me personally to see. It's like, oh, my memory really failed me, and unfortunately it kind of messed up that part of the interview. But luckily Brad was very gracious to not call me out too hard. He was so gentle. It's like, like maybe that was me. It's like, dude, I know, or there could have even have been an argument. But for him, he was really gentle with me, and that was really cool. You can always feel like that. He's kind of guiding through the play at all times. Just like when we were back in 7th grade, like, yeah, come on, let's play. And he doesn't break character in that sense, and I really respect that. My respect for him has just grown even more to see what he's gone through. We did the interview over Zoom, and looking in his eyes, and like he had aged a lot. You could see that he had been through so much, and I kind of wanted to ask him about those hardships, what they might be. I have no idea, but maybe we'll have another chance to talk, because hopefully I want to become closer with Brad after that experience. But I really wonder what that was, and I knew that he had some kind of wisdom through going through hard stuff like that, and I wanted to hear how did he make it through, basically. And I'm starting to learn a lot. I hope you guys are learning a lot too. The mission continues on. Sag nasty if anybody asks me. And until next week, I'm out. We're all looking at the same thing. I repeat, we're all looking at the same thing. What it do, y'all? It's your boy D Sly. We're coming to you with the next reflection. What are we on? Week 3, week 4? I think it's week 4. At this point, I can hear a beep beep